What's good, thugs? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happiest of Thursdays, Friday Junior, whatever you want to call it. It's my Friday, though. Thank thy heavens, because I'm tired. I'm so tired. But anyway, you guys, we are here to do our weekly recap of the Forbidden Love show. This is a new show that does air on the TLC network. For those who have cable or apps, whatever you use, it is on TLC. This is an interesting show. So I'm excited to be back for episode 2 because I'm always like, they'll make the premiere and the finales good usually with newer shows. But then in between, sometimes you be a little, like bored. But thus far, I feel like this show will continue to give and give and give all that it has got until we get to the end. On another note, you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel. I do appreciate everybody for watching. Let's get into this recap. So, what we're going to do is the same format as we do for Love After Lockup. We're going to discuss each couple and what happened with them on the episode all at once instead of ping ponging back and forth. So we're going to start with Lori and Eli. Lori is a woman that grew up Catholic. Eli is an Orthodox Jewish man practicing the Jewish religion. The strictest, one of the strictest religions is what he practices. Now, they're dating, and there's obviously some love between the two. I think for all the couples, I have hopes that they will make it work. However, it's kind of a mess after meeting his mom and all of that through it. So first thing we see with these two is she has her sister come over, and she's giving her sister the rest of her pots and pans that you would cook with. And the reason she says that she's doing this is because they're not kosher. I don't know anything about Jewish religion, you guys, so I'm not even going to begin to try and explain what kosher is, but she did explain some of it. So she has to, being kosher is not just a section in the grocery store. Apparently, there's a lot more that comes with it for those who did not know. I am one of the people who did not know. So she has to have separate pots and pans for cooking things in. So if she boils some milk for hot cocoa or something in a pot, she cannot use that same pot even after she cleans it to cook some beef in or something, because it's like feeding the animal. She explained it in a way that did make sense, but it just seemed a tad extra. But they're not kosher, so she's giving away the pots. She has to have 2 different sinks: a sink for cleaning products and dairy, and a sink for cleaning products and meat. It's just a strange thing, but I didn't know so much came with it. Now I'm starting to understand Lori's concerns about converting. It does look like not only will she have to go through a lot of changes, but she's going to essentially have to give up herself to some extent. There's no way that she'll be able to go around it, because even to have the personality she has, or to go for a jog or work out or something, can you imagine having to put on a doggone wig or something crazy like that while working out? I know there's chicks at the gym who have their wigs and terrible looking edges just glued down and stuff, trying to work out that way. There's people who go to the gym and work out in full makeup, hell, but I just could not understand, some of what had to be done for, her to be an Orthodox Jewish woman. Now, she has to change her wardrobe, her pots and pans, the way that she eats. She's going to have to wear a wig anytime she's in public. The only person that can see her hair is her husband, because what was explained is that in Jewish religion, the Orthodox Jewish religion, the hair is essentially looked at as if it's the breast, the vagina, your private areas, and it's meant to only be for your husband to see. I just think that's unrealistic, in my personal opinion, because the husband finds out that he's attracted to you through the wig, so why do you need to put it on just to be with him if you can date him that way? I don't know. I'm confused on it. If anybody's Jewish, feel free to explain it. I don't understand it. I do feel like a lot of what we've heard, like last week when she's on her period, she has to be separated from her husband, and to have sex with him after getting off of it, she has to bathe. I understand that these are religious practices that have probably gone back so many years, but they're also a little offensive towards women and get in the way of a woman's independence, especially the period thing. That really bothered me, y'all. But her sister has concerns when talking to Lori about, what's going on with this relationship. She feels as though Lori could just be converting for love, which looks valid, because outside of love, this woman did not express interest in becoming Jewish, it sounds like she wasn't even that connected to the Catholic Church. So I do understand why her sister would feel that way. Lori swears that that is not the case, but when asked why, she couldn't really like explain what other reasons she had for converting. She just could not. I agree with her sister. I understand that religion is extremely important to some people. I don't define myself based on religion. Yes, I believe in a higher power, but I don't think, me going to church or, to temple or to the mosque, whatever it is that it may be. I don't feel like that's going to make me like a bad person not going. And I don't think other people are bad people for not going. Like, I just don't feel that way. But I feel like if you convert, it should be because religion is important to you. It is something, sanctimonious and important, holy almost to yourself. It should be something like valuable to you, you know. It and it just does not seem like that. She loved that man, and I think that's the only thing that makes her care about this religion. And the fact that she's even willing to do half of this, not growing up Jewish, I respect her a great deal, and I want to see him do the same. But I want to know how he gonna prove his love for her. She's gonna convert. She's learning Hebrew. She's meeting with the rabbi 3 times a week for classes. She's going to have to take a test. She's going to have to wear a wig in public. She's going to have to pay for these types of things. She has to change out the pots and pans that she has. She has to change her wardrobe. What the hell has he doing for her other than giving her some good eggplant emoji? Because it's got to be good if she's willing to be doing all of that. Their sex life has to be popping because ain't no way in hell I could tolerate any of what she's doing. So I do think she cares for him. But a lot of these religions, and we'll see this, later on with Muhammad and Ashley later on in the episode. Why is it that these religions are essentially saying that a woman has to do all of these things for a man, but a man is not doing anything for the woman? I would love to know. It doesn't make sense. What is he going to have to do for her? If somebody could please comment that, I would greatly appreciate it. And then when you're done commenting, maybe like the video. And shout out to Oso Best for watching. I did get your text message. Thank you. That is my spousal unit for those who do not know. Anyway, you guys, so apparently during sex, it gets deeper. During sex in the Orthodox Jewish religion, the man is the only person who's supposed to be on top. If anybody who likes reverse, cowgirl or who likes to go for a ride, I can only say so much on YouTube. So I will leave it if you know, you know. And anybody who likes reverse cowgirl or going for, fabulous rides, you're not going to be able to do that because apparently only the man can be on top. So doggy style is not something that they can do. I said boring. I can't imagine just laying there every time. That would suck. That would really suck. She can't even turn to the side. It's got to be him on top. So that is wild to me. She giggled a little bit with the guilty conscience. You could tell Eli been bending that thing over the way that she was giggling. So I'm like, what, are you going to get married and suddenly start, separating during your cycle, having to take this bath before getting back to being intimate, and you can't bend over or, drop it low. You can't do that. She can't bust it low and spread it wide, y'all. She's not allowed. And I don't understand that. I feel like that's a little too much and invasive. Let people to some extent think for themselves. Relationships last better when there's some type of naturalness. Like in some ways, this could set them up for failure, but that's just my opinion. And my opinion is my opinion. I'm not attacking a religion and anybody who feels differently. You don't have to freaking watch the video. There are millions of creators on YouTube. Pick another. But so that's that. No tricks for adults. What a shame. The man has to do all the tricks, it sounds like. He better also make all the money if that's the case. But I don't know. I don't see this, going well, but I hope that it does. Now, Lori ends up, her sister ends up saying, after hearing these things about sex too, she says Lori was always a free spirit and she feels like her sister's going to lose herself, which was also Lori's concern. And I'm starting to understand why she says that. Because in my mind, at first, I'm like, you can convert to someone else's religion and not lose yourself, but then at the same time, the stuff that she's being asked to do, there's really no way to avoid her losing herself. Like some of these things are just slightly unrealistic. I don't buy it. I don't even think his mama following every rule that she should follow, if I'm being honest. That's just how I feel. But her sister feels she's not a loose spirit, and she worries she'll lose her sister through the process. Now, the next thing we see is Lori go with Eli's mom to a wig salon, and you can tell his mom is hella judgmental, which I don't like. And that's the one thing I will say. It doesn't matter if it's the Jewish and Catholic couple or the Christian and Muslim couple. It doesn't matter what the religion is. It really does seem that they're all judgmental. And it might push some people away from it, because that's part of the reason I don't be going to church, because the people in there want to judge the hell out of you, whether you show up or not, or judge you for stupid stuff. And it's like, don't the Bible say you're not supposed to judge? Only God can judge. Yeah, here y'all are judging people and saying they're not good enough to marry somebody unless they convert to a religion. And that is not just with Lori and Eli. That's all of these couples, except for the Amish people in front. But yeah, it doesn't seem cool. But the mom basically, because Orthodox Jewish wives have to wear wigs when they're in public, the hair is something only their husbands can see. The mom takes her to a wig salon, and she tries on a bunch of different wigs and things of that nature. And she, Lori's expressing her concerns to his mom in a respectful way. She doesn't want to cover her hair, and she tries on a wig, and I understand it looked a mess. Listen, I know wigs are in right now, especially within the Black community, but in my opinion, 90% of the time they look a hot mess. The ones that don't look a mess are usually when you see them from celebrities and stuff, depending on the celebrity. But the ones where they be having them baby hairs out and all of that, like, it's not cute. Do your own baby hairs, not the wigs. It doesn't look good. It makes it look fake, or like you got something heavy and, not real on your head. That's just how I feel. But wigs are popular right now. So I'm like, okay, this should be, an easy fix compared to years ago when wigs did not look as good as they do today. So she is lucky at the timeline that she's doing this. But the wig did look like the Hot Mess Express, like just careening across her head. That's what it looked like. Now, his mom says to her when she expresses her concern, your hair will look nicer in a wig because right now it's thin. Lady, stop it. I did not like Eli's mom, y'all. I'm just going to say that. I didn't care for her. I didn't feel like she was like mean or anything, but she was incredibly dismissive of Lori's feelings. She was a lot, and she was extra. I don't know. I don't like that. But I'm also the type that, like, when my in-laws are extra or any of that, like, you just won't hear from me. I don't deal with that. I married your child, not you. But you can't do that. We're in a highly religious, relationship, which they are. So thank the Lord. I don't have to deal with that with my husband. He's not asking me to change my hair, put on a wig. Like, I could never. But I did not like the pressure that the mom put on her. And, every time she expressed her discomfort, all Eli's mom said is, well, this is a requirement, not a choice. Well, why does me being with your son mean that I have to give up my right to have and make choices for myself and my household? Because as quiet as it's kept, marriage, relationships, it's about teamwork, and I'm sure that whatever Orthodox Jews read for their good book, their holy book, I'm sure it teaches you that you become one with your partner, meaning you should work together. It should not just be, oh, this is a requirement, I don't have a choice. I don't like that. But again, maybe that's why I'm not the most religious person. You're not going to require me to do nothing with my hair. I'm going to do what I want. I'm from California. We don't practice hair discrimination here. My manager has bright blue hair, and he's a program director. So, anywho, that's all that really happened with them throughout this episode. I want Lori, if she stays with Eli, I want for her to stand up for herself to some extent, respect their religion, maybe have a talk with them. I'm willing to convert. I'm willing to do these things. But some of these changes are unrealistic, and he hasn't even followed some of them himself. They're both recovering alcoholics, so clearly he strayed at one point, because I can't see him drunk holding up that Torah, reading Hebrew. I can't see him doing that drunk. So It seems like, once again, another religion where the men get more, it's more lax with the men, but the women have to be held to these extremely strict standards when they also have to go through what they go through with their cycles, expected to work, bear your children. No, ain't no way in hell I got to do all of that and then follow some rules from a book. No. So moving on, you guys, like the video if you have not already. The next couple that we see is going to be Chris, and I believe her name was Lensa. Beautiful couple. He fine, she fine. They was both fine. I'm not gonna lie, they was both beautiful. But Chris is 37. He is a Pentecostal Christian. Y'all, Pentecostal. My mom is Pentecostal, and she used to have us at churches similar to the ones that we saw on the screen. I feel like that's common in the Black community: Pentecostal, Baptist, those two, and non-denominational. They're super, super common. But the Holy Ghost part is a lot. That's the first thing he explained. That's actually, just to get personal, because I like to get to know and be honest and forthright on my channel. That is something that turned me off to church, when people are like, just out of nowhere, a pastor's touches someone and they're falling to the ground and they're shaking, or they're speaking in tongues and stuff like that. I do believe some people can speak in tongues, but I also believe that it doesn't happen as often as they like to make it seem in the church. But that's just my personal opinion. I do not judge those who do. And, people like what they like. If you like it, go to a Pentecostal church. If you don't go. But we learned that Chris's dad is a retired preacher who still preaches from time to time. And we learned that Chris used to have gambling issues and says that his father expects him to follow in his footsteps. And that's where he's like, but he's in love with a Muslim woman. Let me explain something to you religious people. Isn't it interesting, y'all, and even not religious people, isn't it interesting how people who grow up in religion, regardless of the religion, if you grow up in your faith, like strictly like the people on this show, it's interesting they always rebel. Like Eli, he's an Orthodox Jew, yet he also ended up becoming an alcoholic, has all these crazy tattoos, and really struggled at one point, it seems, with his mental health and who he is, to even be pushed to substance abuse. And then you also have, this guy, Chris, whose father was a preacher, and he says that he used to have gambling issues and, want to do things that wasn't right and wasn't living his life right. Maybe pushing your kids too much towards something you want them to do is going to cause them to rebel. And don't you want your kids to do something because they actually love it genuinely versus just because they feel the need to please you? Isn't that a thin line? Are you coming to church and, preaching and feeling these things because you want to impress your dad, or are you doing it because you really do believe in the spirit of the Holy Ghost and Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior? Because from what I got from Chris, it seems like he believes it to some extent, but the passion is not there, So that's what I'll say. Now, we then get to meet Lensa, who is his girlfriend, beautiful woman. She is Ethiopian. We have a good Ethiopian and Eritrean community here in the Bay Area. Them people are beautiful. They really are. They really are. And I'm just saying, a lot of people, I'm going to just say it because I'm a proud Black woman, they hate us because they ain't us, because they're just beautiful. But she's a Muslim Ethiopian woman, and she does live in Michigan. So she is 6 hours away from Chris in a different state. She grew up also with strict parents, and so strict that she was actually put into an arranged marriage right when she was 18, like very, very young. She got into an arranged marriage by her parents. She got pregnant almost immediately, had her son, and then she had her son. She's like, I don't love him. I don't like him. So she divorced. And then after divorcing, she got married again for a second time, which was also arranged by her parents. But this time she married a Muslim man from Saudi Arabia. He wanted to control her because he's Arab, is a different type of Islam. She said, I've been in America too long. I love her honesty with that. She said, I've been in America too long. I know that women have freedom, rights, and our own right to think. So, she said she couldn't do it. She left him. What I like about Lensa, she's trying to respect her religion, but she's also ensuring that she doesn't lose herself. And when she is not happy, she will leave. And I respect that, because there's a lot of people who don't do that or who won't do that. If you're not happy, you don't got to stay in nothing, religion or not. So I respect her for that piece. Now, she wants for Chris to convert to Islam, and her parents know nothing of him or the relationship. And this is her first time ever as an adult dating someone that she has chosen for herself, which tells me it's probably not going to work. I'm sorry, because that's with how she, had to date. This is technically her first time dating, talking to boys, any of that. I don't think the first person's going to last, but we shall see. I also can't see him converting to Islam. That's a big deal. Now, she says that she will not continue the relationship if Chris does not convert. Listen, I don't really know how to put this, but I don't feel like the man that she's looking for is in Islam, because she's tried it twice, different types, it ain't worked. And she's not wearing a hijab. She's not doing any of the things that she's supposed to do. So I don't know. Very strange. But moving on, we then see that Chris's family is not okay with Lenza. And she does not like that, which makes sense. And Chris doesn't like that. Of course, he wants his family to, like the girl that he loves. Chris's father, the preacher, said that Lenza's got to find Jesus or that she's going to end up in hell. And his dad also feels that her parents' beliefs, and he has some audacity saying this. Chris's dad said that Lenza's parents' beliefs of Islam were forced on her. She had no choice to choose Islam. This is what she was born into. And Chris says it's the same thing with him, which lets me know, like I said, his heart's not fully in Christianity. He was born into, Pentecostal Christianity, and it was forced on him. And so therefore that is what, he believes. I just really, I really don't like the hypocrisy that came from his father. I think this is what turns people off to Christianity specifically a lot, because who the hell are you to say that you're here because you want to help people get to heaven? God is the one who's holy. Even if you think you got Jesus in you, you are not him. You cannot bless me, sir. And you are not the determining factor on whether anybody gets to heaven or hell. Just saying. I would love to see Chris's dad end up in a conversation with somebody who is religious like him, but also not judgmental. I would really love to see it, because I don't think his dad would be able to do anything. He sounds like Chris's dad is full of shit. I'm saying it. He seems like the type where if you challenge him on some of what he believes and says and preaches, he'll just randomly start speaking in tongues or crying or something, like as a way to get out of it. I don't trust his dad at all. But the dad then goes on to say that you can only have God through the Bible. When he said that, I was so mad. I did holler at my TV. You are the worst kind of preacher, the worst type of example of a Christian, the worst of everything. You think because you go to church and preach and that you're there every Sunday, you think that that makes you better than others. He literally is making it seem as though anybody who doesn't have the Bible in their life is not going to go to heaven. How dare you say that to anybody? Not cool. And I have gone to Pentecostal churches several times. My mother is Pentecostal. That's a little extreme. That's a little extreme. I don't like that, what he's doing. But Chris tells his dad that he wants to marry Lenza. And the dad says he's not going to accept Lenza's religion. I'm not surprised. And then his mom finally found her mouth and spoke up and says that a house divided will not stand, because she's a Muslim, he's a Christian, and so she doesn't believe their marriage will last. Lady, figure out what's on your head and then come back and talk to us. Figure that out. Why is it that your husband's always filled with the Holy Ghost, but you're always just sitting there looking confused? It's giving. You married him because you might not have been able to snatch anybody else up, and so now you just go on with this Christian stuff to go with it. But I didn't care for Chris's parents at all. They really did bother me. Like, don't get me wrong, Eli's mom was bad as well, but she wasn't making it like other people are bad if they don't follow the, Orthodox Jew way. She made it like, this is what we believe as Orthodox Jewish people. And unfortunately, these are the requirements within our beliefs. But she didn't just say, you're going to hell. if you don't do this, you know? And that's what Chris's family did. It's a lot. It's way too much. We do learn that he's open to convert to Islam, but he says if he does, he has a fear that he will lose his family, then lose them. You know how many people is missing out on husbands and love and good things because they're stuck worried about their family? No, your family should be there for you regardless, okay? And if they're not, then oh well, fuck them. That's how I feel. Because how can they love you if they can't support who you love? They don't got to live with her. He does. You going to disown your son because he's still practicing and living his life right, except he's going to have to read a Quran? No, I really don't like what I saw with these people, but I think they go give us some good, I think they're going to be entertainment. And to Chris's dad, I don't understand why the hell you did all that extra stuff on the confessional. Oh my God, I felt something. Thank you. Shut up. He's so disingenuous. Mind you, grew up going into Pentecostal churches. My mom started going to them when I got to high school. I did grow up Muslim too. That's why my government name is Amina. I did grow up Muslim, and I did end up, when my parents split up, going into Pentecostal churches. My father, his family, they're parts of them. So I've dealt with Pentecostal Christians before, and Chris's family gives them a bad look. But again, this is a TV show, so they're going to find the most outlandish thing that they could find, y'all. It's just what's going to happen. So Ashley and Muhammad are the last couple we're going to discuss. Hot Mess expressed that they are. I can guarantee they won't last. Now, Ashley's prepping for her racist sister's birthday party, allegedly racist sister. I think her sister's racist personally. Because why does this girl keep saying my all-white town of Jefferson City? But then white people all in the same breath cannot seem to acknowledge the fact that there is like a certain like innate bias and level of racism that they have against other people. Because if it wasn't that, then why do you have to say all white town? Like she keeps saying, and it's annoying me. We get it. There's white people there. I thought it was conservative. Talk about the conservative values versus that. But she keeps going back to the race, which tells me that her family's issue with him is race, but she can't say that on TV. Y'all could think I'm wrong. Y'all can at me. There's nothing that would change my mind. Now, she's prepping for her sister's party in Missouri, and it seems that she knows that her family is rude and disrespectful because she keeps saying it. Now, Muhammad has agreed to come to Missouri on the strength that she fixes things with his brother, which in my opinion, man up, Mr. Muslim man. I want to control and have a woman to obey me. You want a woman to obey you? Give her a reason to. Man up and check your brother. Because why was your brother locking her out of the house? And why does he speak about her the way that she speaks? Yeah, he speaks about her. I'm just saying, I understand she broke his PlayStation, but prior to that, why did he feel comfortable to lock your wife out of your home? The mother of your child, his niece, he locked out. His brother's trash, and the more I see him, I'm starting to see he is trash as well. So, you know, that's just how I feel. But she does agree. Now, we then see that Jennifer, her sister, does not like Muhammad because of his beliefs. She does go into a little bit of explanation, and I think some of it is true, but I also think that she's very racist. It's just how I feel. It's not going to change. And it seems like her sister just doesn't want to be exposed as that, which is funny because, you know, racist people in general, they're so set in their beliefs to be racist. But then if they're called out on it, they want nobody to know. Makes no sense. If you know it's wrong, why feel that way? That's just what I'm saying. Why feel that way? Now, the sister don't like him basically because she feels that he picked the wrong wife. He should have picked, if Islam was so important to him, a Muslim wife, which I do agree with the sister in this one situation. However, the sister also lied on the terrorist thing. She says that she did not say that he was a terrorist. The sister Jennifer says basically that she never called him a terrorist. She says that when she was talking to Ashley about her feelings on Muhammad, that she felt something happened. There was an exchange, and she was like, okay, well, it's not like he's a terrorist or anything. And I'm like, well, why would that even come up with talking about religion and your concerns about her having to obey the husband and things of that nature? You could tell the sister is just racist, Googled something and kept it moving. I don't think she actually knows anything about Islam, like on a deeper note. Because yes, they do teach you in Islam. I grew up being taught that like a woman is meant to obey her husband, but it seems like they're just taking the term obey to like the 10th power, you know? Like I've seen Islamic marriages like my parents where my mom had autonomy, she had a career, she did what she wanted to do, she made her choices like, so it's not all of that. But the sister of course felt that way. Now, she swears she never called him a terrorist. And she says that when she was talking to Ashley about her feelings on Muhammad, that's the direction she went. So I don't know. Obviously, you said the word and it shouldn't have been said at all, Jennifer. Just admit it, apologize, and keep it moving. The more that you argue it, I feel like the bigger it's going to become a problem and the worse you're going to look on TV. Now, Ashley does call out her sister's BS. She's like, no, you did say it. And it turns out her other sister heard it and some other people. So Jennifer, still denies it, but she just doesn't want to be exposed as racist, y'all. I'm convinced. Now, the sister does not feel the one who made the terrorist comment that she swears she didn't make. Now she says that she doesn't feel like she should have to apologize to Muhammad for the comment because she did not say it to his face. And I'm going to dissect that just a little bit real quick, y'all. I feel like regardless if you say it to his face or not, you still need to apologize. Because why are you associating Islam with terrorism? Yes, we know the history of America and what happened. We understand it. We absolutely understand what happened with 9/11. We understand that. But there is a such thing as radical Islam, and I think that aligns more with what she's trying to say about Muhammad versus his actual religion. It just all seems like racially charged. But either way, you absolutely should apologize, regardless on if you said it to his face or not. He heard it and it's hurtful. Now, I'm about to get in Ashley's ass. Why would you go and tell your family things about him, knowing how they are, and even put him into this situation? If my sister calls my husband a terrorist, the last thing I'm going to do is run and tell him. I'm just saying. The last thing I'm going to do is run and tell him. So it's just a weird situation. I feel like there's a lot more that Ashley could be doing to make this situation better. But, she seemed like a dingbat a little bit. So I don't know if she's going to do that. Now, Muhammad arrives to Missouri where she lives and she picks him up in the airport. And she's in just like a simple dress. Simple little, summer dress it looked like or something, like a little sundress. And she's in the car. Nobody could see her. He got right into the car and he starts complaining about that dress. Listen, I like how she threw back the fact that in Islam, men are also supposed to cover certain parts. For those who do not know, they think, oh, the women have to do this and that, but men are also supposed to do certain things. And he wants to ignore that. Now I'm starting to see the hypocrisy and why she's reluctant to convert to Islam, because you're not even following the rules of Islam correctly, but you want me to? So we get to the hotel after she picks him up and his hypocrisy continues. He wants to wear the traditional Muslim wear to the family event, and he wants Ashley to wear the abaya to the event as well. Ashley feels like it's a FU to the family, which I agree, because she says when he's in New York and Rochester, where he lived, she'll be like, how come you're not wearing it? Oh, I don't want to draw attention to myself. But you want to draw. Now, here's where I will say she has a point, but you want to draw attention to yourself in an all-white, conservatively Christian town. That's weird and doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. So I do think she, had a point about that. But she does what you're supposed to do in marriage, and she compromises and she wears the abaya. But she says, I am not going to put on the hijab and the scarf, and I'm going to have my hair out and my makeup done, which I don't see nothing wrong with that. She met him halfway and he accepted it, but he still tried to complain. It's giving Muhammad that you're not going to be happy unless you're getting your way. And that's not a man, that's a baby and a little bit like bitch-like. Man up and get over it. Put your big boy pants on and accept the fact that you're not always going to get your way. You wanted a wife, you were attracted to her for a reason. Are you going to do this to your daughter, sir? Like, he's a mess. He really is a mess. But they pretty much arrive, and He says that if they're rude, because this is where the episode ends, he says if the family is rude to him, even though he came in my opinion, doing whatever he could to make the family triggered enough to be rude to him. And then he goes, if they're rude to me, he'll never let his daughter see the family again. He'll keep her away and they'll never see him. Let me explain something to you all about America. There's a such thing as parental rights for mother and father. I know that we have that here in California, but sir, you live in a whole different state. She is the stable parent. You saying that you're going to keep your daughter away from her blood relatives, regardless on what's going on with, them, as long as they're not talking about you negatively around the daughter, you keeping her away from her relatives, they can go to court too and get their right. Like there's grandparents' rights and all types of stuff like that. So I don't know. I didn't like that statement. I don't like when people do that. Just because you mad at somebody, if you choose to have a kid with someone, then you choose to have a kid with their family. You cannot just, keep your kid from someone because you don't want to deal with the person. That's not fair, especially if they have love for the child. So that's what I'll say on that issue. Other than that, you guys, that's all that happened with this episode titled Love Stinks of Forbidden Love, TLC's newest series, which is interesting. I am so glad we're getting away from the 90 Day Fiance stuff because I'm tired. There's 90 Day the other way, 90 Day Fiance, 90 Day Happily Ever After. I'm tired. We had the Family Chantel, like, so it's nice to see TLC like, okay, we work well with, weird relationship shows, unconditional relationship shows, but, I'm liking this show so far. I'm digging this show. So I hope that you guys are all enjoying it as well. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. We will have more lives tomorrow. I will be going over Love After Lockup. We'll have some music reactions premiering next week, and we have a song review coming up. So I appreciate everybody for watching. I will see y'all on the next